For this next problem, we need to find the inverse of a non-singular matrix. We want to find the inverse of this non-singular matrix. It's a 3 by 3 matrix. The first step that we want to do is to augment this matrix with the appropriate identity matrix. Since this is 3 by 3, we want to augment the 3 by 3 identity matrix. That's what we've done here. So we've got our original matrix here, B, and then we've augmented this 3 by 3 identity matrix. The next thing we need to do is use row operations to get the identity matrix on this side. As we perform the same operations on the entire row, the resulting matrix over here is going to be our inverse matrix. First thing we'd like to do is get a 1 in this upper corner, which we already have. The next step is to get zeros beneath it. To do that, we need to multiply our first row by -2 and add it to our second. So our new row 2 will be -2 times row 1 plus row 2. At the same time, we can get a 0 in the third row. Our new row 3 will be -2 times row 1 plus row 3. We just need to perform those operations. We're not changing our first row, so we just rewrite that. To get our new second row, we perform this indicated operation, and we get this result. And we'll double check that. -2 times 1 is -2, plus 2 gives us 0. -2 times -1 is 2, plus 5 gives us 7. -2 times 1 plus -1 is -3. -2 times 1 plus 0 is -2. -2 times 0 plus 1 is 1. -2 times 0 plus 0 is still 0. To get our new row 3, we had to perform this operation. -2 times 1 plus 2 is 0. -2 times -1 is +2, plus 3 gives us 5. -2 times 1 plus 0 is -2. -2 times 1 plus 0 is -2. -2 times 0 plus 0 is 0. -2 times 0 plus 1 is 1. Now that we have zeros beneath this first 1, we want to get a 1 along the diagonal in the second entry. So we want our 2 entry to be a 1. To do that, we need our new row 2 to be 1/7 times the current row 2. We're not going to change our first or third row, so we're just going to rewrite them, and we'll get this result. Here's our first row and our third row just rewritten. To get our new second row, we perform this operation. 1/7 times 0 is still 0. 1/7 times 7 is +1. 1/7 times -3 is -3/7. -2 times 1/7 is -2/7. And 1 times 1/7 is 1/7. 0 times 1/7 is 0. We need to move on to another sheet of paper to continue finding our inverse. Here we've rewritten our last matrix from the previous page. We've got our 1 here and our 2 entry. Our next step is to get a 1 below this, and a 0 below the 1 and a 0 above the 1. To do that, our new row 1 is going to just be row 2 plus row 1. Just add these together to get that 0. Our new row 3 will be -5 times row 2 plus row 3. We're not changing our second row, so we're going to be able to just rewrite that. We'll get this result. Notice our second row is the same. Our first row we get by adding the first and second. 1 plus 0 is 1. -1 plus 1 is 0. 1 plus -3/7. Remember, 1 is 7/7. So we end up with 4/7. 1 plus -2/7 is 5/7. 0 plus 1/7 is 1/7. And 0 plus 0 is 0. Our new row 3 we get by performing this operation. -5 times 0 plus 0 is 0. -5 times 1 plus 5 is 0. -5 times -3/7, that's going to be +15/7. We're going to add that to -2, which would be -14/7. So we end up with a +1/7. -5 times -2/7, that's going to give us +10/7. Plus -2 is -4/7. -5 times 1/7 plus 0 is -5/7. -5 times 0 plus 1 gives us 1. Next thing we'd like to do is get a 1 again along the diagonal in our 3, 3 entry. So we're going to get that by multiplying row 3 by 7. We're not changing our first 2 rows, so we just rewrite those. And we end up with this result. Notice that we just rewritten our first 2 rows. To get row 3, we just have to multiply by 7. 0 times 7 is 0. 0 times 7 is 0. 1/7 times 7 is 1. Negative 4/7 times 7 is negative 4. Negative 5/7 times 7 is negative 5. And 1 times 7 is 7. The last thing we need to do is to get zeros above this 1. We need a 0 here, and we need a 0 here. To do that, our new row 1 is going to equal negative 4/7 times row 3 plus row 1. Our new row 2 will be 3/7 times row 3 plus row 2. We're not changing our third row, so we're just going to rewrite that. Notice our third row is the same. To get our new row 1, we multiply the third row by negative 4/7, add it to row 1. Negative 4/7 times 0 is 0, plus 1 gives us 1. Negative 4/7 times 0 plus 0 is still 0. Negative 4/7 times 1 plus 4/7 gets us 0. Negative 4/7 times negative 4, it's going to give us a positive 16/7. We're going to add that to 5/7, which is going to give us 21/7, which equals 3. Negative 4/7 times negative 5 is going to give us 27, positive 27. Add 1/7 to get 21/7, which is 3. Negative 4/7 times 7 is negative 4, plus 0 is negative 4. Same idea here for row 2, except we multiply row 3 by 3/7 and add it to row 2. 3/7 times 0 plus 0 is still 0. 3/7 times 0 plus 1 is 1. 3/7 times 1 plus negative 3/7 gets us our final 0. 3/7 times negative 4, that's negative 12/7, plus a negative 2/7 is negative 14/7, which ends up being negative 2. Negative 5 times 3/7 is negative 15/7. We're going to add 1/7, which gives us negative 14/7 again, which is negative 2. 7 times 3/7 is 3, plus 0 gives us 3. Now that we have the identity matrix here, this resulting matrix is our inverse. And so B inverse is equal to 3, 3, negative 4, negative 2, negative 2, 3, negative 4, negative 5, 7.